They think you're stupid. They really think that you're stupid. So Ilhan Omar's tax returns show that she is a multi-millionaire. And now she's coming out and she's like, you know what? You know what? There was a discrepancy. We messed up on our end. We declared that, $30 million is our net worth, but in fact, it's only like $90,000. That's it. That is all we have. There were some errors in accounting. We paid taxes on 30 million, but we don't have that much money. I'm definitely not married to my brother. He's definitely not profiteering from my campaign funds. This is definitely not a thing. We don't know where these rumors are coming from. We really don't. We really don't. But we don't have to. No, we are honest working people in the Somali community. And I came to the United States to chase my American dream. And now I made it all the way to Capitol Hill and the halls of Congress. And there's absolutely nothing going on there. And that number, yeah, $30 million, totally. They think you're...
The walls are closing in on good old Ilhan Omar, and now she is changing her stance. As some of you guys heard, she recently went on The Breakfast Club, actually, and was asked about it, or Charlemagne was asking her about it, and my goodness. Were her answers terrible? I wish I could show you the clip, but it's just gonna get copyrighted. So for obvious reasons, I'm not going to show you the clip, but her answering those questions, woo, screamed. Ooh, I know I'm guilty of this, but quick, think of something. Think of something. It was bad. It was real bad. And Charlemagne was like trying to ask her in like a soft, polite way too. Like it wasn't even like really grilling her about it. He just kind of threw the question out there and woo! Yeah, but as you guys heard, she's now changing her stance on being worth $30 million. Kind of wild, ain't it?
So I have a question for you. Have you ever accidentally thought that you were a multimillionaire? Well, Ilhan Omar says she is not a multimillionaire. And look at this headline from the Wall Street Journal. She thought she was, though. Omar was standing down. Look at this headline. Ilhan Omar says she isn't a multimillionaire, blames accounting error. Okay, so an accounting error led her to believe she was very wealthy. Well, Omar was staring down a potential investigation after disclosing that she and her husband's assets were valued between $6 million and $30 million on a financial disclosure form. Now listen to this. That was an astronomical increase in wealth from her last disclosure, but she has since amended her filing, now saying that her assets are valued between $18,004 to $95,000. So 6 to 30 million to under 100,000. How in the world does that happen? Well, according to the Wall Street Journal, quote, aides said that Omar looked at the form before it was filed in 2025, but that the error did not jump off the page for her because she isn't involved with her husband's businesses. Okay, wow.
Excuses, and I would venture to say flat out lies. Flat out lies. She heard the footsteps, right, of those investigations getting a little bit closer. Oh, I hear him. Anybody that's ever played football, right, knows when a receiver drops the ball, you're like, oh, he heard them footsteps. Heard somebody coming up behind him, about to smack him. She heard the footsteps of that investigation getting a little close, and hold on, guys, wait a minute. I ain't worth $30 million. I'm not even worth $100,000. I got about $90,000 in assets. That's it. I'm innocent. It was my accountant. It wasn't me. Of course. Blame everybody else. Typical Democrat stance, right? And if I remember correctly, in the Letitia James, was that Letitia James? They threw so many cases at Uncle Trump, man. I don't even remember which was which. Wasn't it the Letitia James case where, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be wrong on this, but one of those cases, I believe it was the Letitia James, they said something along the lines of Trump can't blame his accountants because he is responsible for X, Y, and Z anyway. Like he's solely responsible for his finances or something like that. He can't just blame the accountant and say that they made an error. What wasn't that said in one of those cases? Y'all let me know in the comments, because if it was, kind of interesting how Ilhan Omar now is kind of using that same excuse that they said that Trump couldn't use, which is kind of weird, but I'm not surprised because there's always a double standard when it comes to Democrats and Republicans in this country.
Well then, Representative Ilhan Omar is now saying she isn't as rich as she claimed to be, facing a potential congressional inquiry into her wealth, which was listed on a financial disclosure as being between $6 million and $30 million. The Congresswoman has formally revised that disclosure. She now claims to be worth only $18,000 to $95,000. This all comes from a terrific report by the Wall Street Journal, which does note that her disclosure from last year showed she and her husband held assets of between $6 million and $30 million, a massive rise in wealth from her previous annual filing. Now, that jump triggered questions among Republicans eager to scrutinize a critic of the president, end quote. Yes, Omar has been quite critical of President Trump. She's a far-left, anti-Trump Democrat. She represents Minnesota, and she's a Somali immigrant, one who represents a community that is facing scrutiny for welfare fraud. But let's not pretend this is some political witch hunt or persecution of Omar. She was caught red-handed inflating her assets. Now Omar claims that was a mistake on a form, and she didn't notice it, and it was handled by an accountant effectively. I guess she wasn't paying close enough attention to whether her assets were worth between 10 and 100K or between 60 and 30 million. 6 and 30 million? I'm sorry, that doesn't seem like the kind of mistake that one easily makes. I don't know. Those are big differences. And I don't know about you, but I just finished doing my taxes. Never a pleasant experience. And at the conclusion of that process, you got a pretty good idea of where you stand, financially speaking. I can understand if one has tons of money through properties and investments, not understanding exactly how much money you have. But the difference between 100K and 30 million is just massive. That's the difference between being in an ordinary financial situation and being extremely, extremely rich. To be clear, I have no idea why Omar would purposefully mislead the public and the government about her income, and I have no evidence that this was anything other than a mistake. But when you make this kind of mistake, often the IRS comes down hard on you. I expect better from my members of Congress. We need to have faith that they aren't corrupt. Here was
So that has been the talk of the town, Ilhan Omar now changing that. And I'm happy, right? Because now she's really coming under the microscope once again. And rightfully so, because something fishy is going on here. Something real fishy. First, you blew up to 30 million and now you're back down to 18,000 to 90,000. Really? I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. Something fishy is going on here, right? And so I think this should still be investigated. Just because she now changed what the numbers are doesn't mean that we now just throw up our hands and say, okay, yeah, that makes a little more sense now. Nope. Still investigate her behind. Still investigate. Dive deep into them finances because something is going on here. 100%. 100%. If I were a betting man, I'd bet the house. I'd bet everything. I'm pushing all the chips to the middle of the table. We betting everything that something is going on. And her now coming out with this only after she heard those footsteps, those investigation footsteps getting a little closer, I think speaks volumes to me. Volumes, right? And so, yeah, man. Let's still investigate her and hopefully we can get her out of Congress too. We shall see. Now, I highly doubt it if I'm being completely honest, right? Because we still got some weak Republicans. I won't even call them Republicans. Rhinos or, uniparty members or Democrats that we voted for that just have an R next to their name. John Thune being one of them. Oh, my goodness. I can't speak about this guy enough. I really can't. South Dakota, please do not let this man run a bunch of ads telling you how fantastic or amazing he is. He is absolutely garbage, South Dakota. Vote that mother lover out come 2028. Please. I'm going to keep saying that too until it happens. If you guys haven't noticed, golly, I despise John Thune. He disgusts me. Weak and pathetic. But anyway, y'all let me know. Do you think there's something going on with Ilhan Omar? Talk to me. Yay or nay? All right? Thanks for tuning in as always. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.